Joshua Mahoney is Chief Market Analyst at Scope Markets. Joshua, welcome back. Great to see you. And we were just hearing European Central Bank's Christine Lagarde saying there was an agreement that the 25 basis points rate cut was the right idea. What do the markets make of it?
Yeah, I mean, look, this was by and large pretty much priced in for markets. There was a very small outside chance that we were going to see a 50 basis point cut, and that was discussed by the members, as Christine Lagarde did note. But the fact that it was so overwhelmingly expected meant that the market reaction was somewhat muted. The DAX largely treading water in the lead up to this announcement and doing something quite similar in the aftermath of it as well. We have seen some weakness for the euro, and really this is in line with the fact that we're seeing the likes of, say, the US with the Federal Reserve on a pathway where they're going to be cutting rates maybe once every quarter, and the ECB pretty much cutting rates at every meeting. So despite the fact that the odd person might be disappointed we didn't see a 50 basis point cut, we did do enough to certainly see the euro weaken against some of these key currencies.
Lagarde was talking about inflation, and she described the risks to inflation are now two-sided. What did she mean? What are the concerns?
Well, that's the thing, right? Because the ECB, as with many of these central banks, feel like they need to keep monetary policy restrictive enough to not spark a fresh surge in terms of inflation. So they want to cut rates, they want to be accommodative in terms of the economy, but they don't want to see that secondary surge in terms of prices. Now you add to that Donald Trump coming into the White House and the potential repercussions in terms of trade, in terms of tariffs, and the possibility that could have an inflationary impact on the Eurozone and the US, of course. It means that they've got to keep their eye on two different balls at the same time.
Christmas is coming. Tis the season to look ahead, as they say. The ECB isn't committing to a particular rate path. What's your outlook on next steps in the coming months?
Yeah, well, I think for 2025, the expectation is that the ECB will cut rates roughly by 100 basis points, potentially up to 125 basis points. I think by and large, as things stand, it's going to be 25 per meeting. But really, there's a lot of uncertainty. As your reporter alluded to prior to this, we've got what's happening in Germany, the uncertainty in France, the uncertainty over the US Eurozone relations. And also, Christine Lagarde noted that their forecast today did not factor in any potential sort of outcome from that possible trade war with the US. So there's plenty of uncertainty ahead as well that could possibly sort of give them a boot up the bum, so to speak, to potentially enact a 50 basis point cut at some point within the course of 2025. But we're going to have to see how it plays out.
And Joshua, you're a cheery bundle of joy. Is there any happiness you can sprinkle over this forecast of yours?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the back end of the year, so we're looking for a Santa rally. You've got equity markets hitting record highs. The DAX has actually outperformed US markets heavily over the course of the past month. So not all is lost, and certainly when it comes to the Eurozone, you know, they're in a position where they're able to cut rates each time around. Was the likes of the UK, the likes of the US. In actual fact, we've seen inflationary pressures put them into a position where we're going to likely have a little bit of a slower pathway lower in terms of rates. So the Eurozone certainly has the tailwind of looser monetary policy behind it.
Joshua, good to see you. Thank you for that. Joshua Mahoney, Chief Market Analyst at Scope Markets.